You are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the convo's held between a scale of 1 to 10 exceeds 1,000. But do you feel me? Go ahead and get your cups ready as we pour into your mind, slow and steady. You may need a full cup for this. CoffeeTV.com. We got raw and adulterated conversations, live, provocative entertainment, new flavor in your ear for my podcast, talk show, radio. Watch us live online in the studio. Tell a friend, tell them we come too. Never know what's in store with the whole crew. Cause we got.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Good evening.
Hey.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's Sunday. It's the last day of the weekend, but it was a good day here in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know how it was in Chicago for you, Blackfire, but it was nice today.
It looked like it was beautiful because I didn't feel good. I didn't leave the house, but it appeared to have been, I think they said 50-something, high 50s. So it looked pleasant.
Okay, that's good. You know, this weekend is the All-Star weekend here in Atlanta. So, of course, everybody who lives in Atlanta, is from Atlanta, was hopefully at their damn house and not out there with all these people that came.
No, they out there trying to catch them some All-Stars. You already know.
They was out there because Ami from Random Acts of Healing. I went out other shows that would be backing up and running back that Saturday morning. Yeah. She was in Atlanta, so we went out to Bonefish over in Cumberland Mall to grab something to eat, and it was ridiculous out there. The traffic was crazy. So then I said, "Oh, there's Cumberland Mall. Let me run in here," thinking it's Sunday. It was gonna be empty. So I was gonna run in there and grab a couple of things. I walked in there, got to the food court, could barely get through. Got like over and then put up some the Dick's Hunting store in there. They got a Planet Fitness over there. Then put in a big old game room, gameplay there because I hadn't been over there in a minute. And I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? So I got out the mall, headed home, said forget it. But it was ridiculous out there, but it was a very beautiful day.
I had to Google what was going on out there because I got a cousin that works at the airport, and she was like, "What's popping in Atlanta this weekend?" I'm like, "Why?" And she was like, "Girl, I've seen so many of them come through here." And when she said so many of them, I knew what she meant because she's a little prudish. That's when you see some hot girls. She was like, "Honey, they is zooted and booted." I say, well, let me look it up. And I Googled it. I said, girl, it's All-Star weekend. All the NBA folks. She was like, girl, it's a pandemic. I said, they trying to catch them a quarantine boo.
Right.
It didn't look like a pandemic out here today to me.
Right.
I couldn't tell, but I'm ready to get back to some type of normalcy. So, and I know out in Texas, the governor out there removing the mandate. I think as of next Monday, as of this coming Monday, mask is no longer mandated in Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama, I think. So I'm just ready to get back to normal. So all those
I'm ready to get back to normal, but just not too soon.
Right.
It's been like we haven't seen, just real quick off topic, we haven't seen the efficacy yet of this vaccine. And they're saying not enough people have been vaccinated yet to create the whole herd immunity. So if we're not passing a collective immunity and we don't know what this drug is doing, it might be a little too soon. I mean, I understand. Trust me, I'm tired of being locked down. My anxiety is through the roof. But I got more anxiety about them dropping these mandates and people traveling and stuff slowly opening back up. And then all this stuff is trickling back and forth like it did in the beginning.
Right. Absolutely. I definitely agree with you.
I just say if we lock down, just give it a little more time. It ain't like it's new.
Right.
Nah, I'm ready to get back to normal. And I'm an introvert, but I'm ready to get out. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to get out. It felt so good to go out and have lunch and I'm ready to get out. I'm tired. I'm bored. I'm tired. I'm ready to get out.
I feel you.
Well, speaking of getting out and being social, since most people are at home still, they're still trying to be quarantine social. Definitely make sure you go over there to that coffeetalk.com and sign up for the new social media sites.
Yes.
Because when I say it is so much better than Facebook, you get to post everything that you want on there, the message boards, the groups. You get all the information on all of our shows, both the radio show as well as our quarantine-friendly shows, with all performances and everything. So please make sure you go to coffeetalk.com to sign up for your free profile, and you'll definitely see all of us there. So, and then also too, talking about social, I guess we can kind of go briefly into our little movie that everybody is going crazy about, that I had to wake up early on a Saturday morning to watch because I knew somebody was gonna ruin the whole movie for me.
I saw your post. Like,
yes, oh my God, let me go ahead and watch this goddamn movie before they all ruin it. So yes, we can talk about the Coming to America, which is the sequel to Coming to America. Originally, it came out what, like 30 years ago, right? Like 33 years ago.
Yeah, about 30 years ago. Cause that was it 30? Yeah, it was about 30 years ago. I liked it overall. It wasn't as funny as I thought, but I liked the I guess the choreography and seeing Black people in royalty, the whole royalty thing, and seeing, Black people doing something other than selling drugs, twerking and being strippers in a nightclub or going. I that's what I enjoyed about it, seeing Black people presented as royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dancing, everything. Wesley Snipes threw me a little bit with some of his little, me questioning some stuff.
That's funny.
But all in all, I think it was a good movie. The storyline, was pretty good about that one night stand, and you got kids out there and don't know, because sometimes the mom don't reach out and don't say anything. But when he did find, he had no idea. Mm-hmm. And once he did find out, and I'm sorry if I'm telling the story if you're looking at this, but I'm not gonna really. Okay, let me stop. 40 years ago. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna get into it. All in all, I think it was a good movie. So I give it 5 out of 5 scoops or something.
5 scoops, okay.
It's coffee talk, so I'll give it.
Give it 5 scoops of creamer.
Yeah,
5 scoops of creamer. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Miss Brittany? What did you give it?
So, okay, so I actually like the original, and I'm a fan of comedy movies. The original, there's definitely a difference between this one seemed more like family friendly than the first one, because the first one was definitely raunchy. It was definitely all the cussing, the everything that it was giving. I loved it. It was crazy. This one was definitely more family friendly. Of course, I always like movies that show Black people in a positive light, because although those other aspects and those other movies do categorize history that we have, I'm really just liked the break from Black trauma films, because we have a lot of those right now. That are still important and need to be seen and heard, but it was just nice to have a break from that. But I thought it was really good. I like the angle that they went with the baby moms and the son and the blended family, the Lisa and everything like that. Leslie Jones kind of stole the show for me a little bit, and
stole the show in everything she touched.
Yes, she is just amazing.
Anything that girl is comedic gold.
Yes, her and Tracy Morgan. He was very funny in this too. Mm-hmm. But I expect that from Tracy Morgan, because
Tracy Morgan was in there too.
Yeah, he had
it was all-star. It was a cameo with Gladys Knight, Salt and Pepper. It was well put together. Like she said, more family oriented this time
than the first one. So I'm gonna be the converse view, because on any panel we always got to have the opposing view.
Of course,
of course.
Me. I heard the hype. I heard the fanfare. I said I was going to check it out. And then it's like I decided not to, only because, one, I didn't really care for the first one. Mm-hmm. See, for me, I'm one of those people that ever since I was a little kid, I overthunk stuff.
Oh, okay.
So when I was a kid, the movie seemed like it was too full of stereotypes. You know, and I didn't like it because my parents took us to the show to see it.
Oh, okay.
So we sitting in the movies, and when the dude come on with the, you know, at the scene, you know, did the beauty queen, that thing with the Jerry curls.
Sexual Chocolate.
That was his name. Okay, I couldn't think of his name for nothing.
The singer, Sexual Chocolate, or the Stay Fro when they got up and
the singer. The singer.
Chocolate, yeah.
Okay.
Good, girl.
What made me mad about that was, as I sat there in this darkened movie theater and I'm looking around, Black people, we were looking at the screen and we had a moderate chuckle, you know, because some of us were sitting there with Jerry curls at the time.
Right.
The people who was cracking up were the non-African Americans. And that bothered me. So it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. So I didn't really like it back then because it was stereotypical. As I grew up and I learned comedy and I learned like character comedy, then I was able to appreciate, you know, the different, like to sit there and be like, oh, that was Eddie Murphy too. And that was him. And that was him. And that was Arsenio. So it was dope in that sense back then. From what I'm seeing now, I just really want to see it for the costuming. Because they said whoever did they freaking stage design and everything snapped off. But as far as the content, I saw, you know, you see the trailers and stuff like that. Yeah, I saw a couple of the jokes with Leslie Jones and stuff. And it just seemed to me that at 45, I wouldn't get the same kick or the same chuckle out of the same stereotypical laughs. And I get it that, you know, we're over the trauma movies because I don't watch those either. But for me, it's like I'm over having, I don't care, because people are making this a racial debate. And that's crazy. Like, I think I posted on my page, you know, did y'all watch it? What did y'all think? And some people went extra Black power on me. You know, I'm just happy to see Black actors acting in an all Black cast and Black writers. Yeah, but they had white writers too. They had white producers. Trust me, that was white money in this movie. And I could care less about that. For me, it was about the contextual part of it. So it's like some people want to go super racial, you know, this is our next Black Panther. Well, no, not really, because you're really just looking for a baby daddy. That's stereotypical in itself. But then it's like, okay, yes, we need a good laugh right now. And we need to see our comedic heavy hitters know that they still kicking. Right. You know, so I can see it from both sides. I just haven't brought myself to watch it yet.
Now, I'm going to be honest. There are a couple things, if I'm being totally honest. There was a couple, like, ways that they framed Leslie Jones' character where I'm like, okay, she didn't have to be that sister girl. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. It was for the show and for the line to show the contrast between the two. So I was like, all right. And then with Lisa, too, I was like, all right, she didn't have to be that bougie. But, you know, again, it went along with the storyline, so it was okay. But I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, for me, like I said, but I definitely, I'm still thinking I'll watch it because like I said, I want to see the set design. I want to see the costumes. I'm big on that kind of corny stuff. So I may just watch it on mute. And I've been known to watch whole movies on mute just to watch the cinematography.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So
you got some comments, Brittany.
Oh, here, let me go over here. So, yeah. So, Ami Brown is like, oh, let me go to the top. So, Tom Pender says, hey, Miss Jessica. Black One says, hi, Annie. It says, hi, Annie Gurr. Okay. Ami Brown said 40 years ago. Actually, the movie was 30. It was like 30 or 33. It was something like that. Ami comments on the scoops of cream. I guess I should have gave my scoops of cream. So, I'm probably going to give it, I don't know about 5 scoops of cream. It might be like 3.5. Close to the 4 scoops of cream for me.
But the outfits, you got to give it to the outfits.
We're gonna separate that. Yes,
the whole like layout.
The daughters, their whole scene, the powerful image of the daughters, how they wore their hair, like all the other stuff. Definitely imagery is definitely 5 scoops.
And you were right; it was 33 years ago.
Yep, it came out June 26, 1988.
I was 13.
I was
18. You were 2. I was 18.
I was 13.
Oh, cause it came out March 5th, part 2, and it's on Prime. You have to watch it on Prime. It's March. It came out 2 days ago.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah,
Friday.
I thought that was cool that they only released it through Amazon Prime. I did think that was really dope, even though a lot of people say, well, we don't have Prime memberships. I thought that was better than them releasing it through Netflix.
Yeah.
Because Netflix did some super slick stuff with the movie theaters and screwed them out of a lot of money with the simultaneous casting and stuff.
Yeah.
So, which is leaving a lot of people out of jobs.
Right.
So I thought it was really dope that they did release it exclusively on Prime instead of doing movie release and Netflix same day.
Right. That was good.
Okay.
All right. So for our topic tonight, where it is kind of a heavy topic, so trigger warning for all of those that are listening. Trigger warning for real. This topic, it does go into the different types of abuse. So there will be some, I guess you could say, strong language or strong imagery that you're going to see throughout the show. We have a couple of trailers as well as a video to show here in a few moments to kind of talk about our main subject, which is domestic violence trapped at home. Because with this pandemic, a lot of people are trapped at home. And unfortunately, there is a section of people that do kind of receive these types of abuse, and they're trapped with their abuser now that they're being in the pandemic. It's been an entire year. So we're going to get into a video, and it's about the 14 signs of emotional abuse in a relationship. So watch this video, and then we're going to come right back to discuss.
Do you think you're in an emotionally abusive relationship? According to One Love organization, emotional abuse is any abusive behavior that includes verbal aggression, intimidation, manipulation, and humiliation. Does your partner, friend, or family member show signs of emotional abuse? Here are 14 subtle signs of emotional abuse in relationships. 1. They blame you for things. It's a sign of abuse if your partner blames you for the things they've done. They avoid responsibility and say things like, "You made me do it," or "It's your fault this happened." 2. They avoid certain topics. Does it feel like you're walking on eggshells around your partner? It's a sign if you have to stay quiet about things that bother you and fear it will trigger your partner. 3. They control how you act. Abusers might control how you act by telling you that they're just being helpful. Even if it sounds like they're being supportive, they're still trying to manipulate your behavior. 4. They change your plans. Abusers will change your plans without telling you to keep their control over you. They may surprise you when you're supposed to be meeting your friends, so you have to cancel. In time, you might find yourself dependent on them on what to do. 5. They're emotionally available one moment and distant the next. Is it hard to talk to them because they keep shifting from being emotionally available to unavailable? They don't offer any explanation, or they deny their behavior. It keeps you guessing and in fear of them. 6. They say hurtful things as a joke. It's a sign of emotional abuse when they say things they know will hurt you, but then play it off as a joke. They ignore your feelings and make you doubt yourself and your self-worth. 7. They make you guess what they want. You're not a mind reader, and having a partner that expects you to know what they want all the time is childish and immature. A healthy relationship is built on open communication, not assumptions. 8. They ignore your feelings. Instead of recognizing when something hurts you, they say that you're being too sensitive or emotional. This form of abuse may leave you feeling confused, and you may start to doubt your own feelings. 9. They gaslight you. Gaslighting is when someone lies about what and how things happened, so you doubt your own reality. They may say things like, "This never happened," or "You remember it wrong," to confuse you. This form of abuse will leave you dependent on your partner for everything. 10. They act differently when you're with other people. There are 2 ways your abuser may act. They may be caring and considerate in public to fool everyone, or they might be distant and unloving as a way to control how you behave with your friends and family. 11. Their love is conditional. Saying they don't love you when you disagree or argue is a sign of emotional abuse. It bases the relationship on validation instead of connection and implies that you're only worthy of love when you do what they want. 12. They ignore your accomplishments. Abusers may feel threatened by your accomplishments, and so instead of recognizing the work you've done, they downplay or even ignore it altogether. They might say things like, "That's easy, anyone can do that," or "It isn't a big deal." 13. They imply you're not helpful. Abusers will tell you what to do and what to think to control your thoughts and behaviors. They hide this by making it seem that you aren't helpful or that you're selfish. And 14, they need to know where you are. Do they constantly ask you where you are and who you're with? They want to know all of your movements all the time. It shows that they don't trust you or your judgment. Do you see any of these signs in your relationships? Let us know in the comments below. Also, remember to like and share this video with those who might benefit from it. The references and studies used in this video are added in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see.
Yes, so that was a short video about the different ways that you can see, or different types of, I guess you could say, examples of emotional abuse. So a lot of people, when they think of domestic violence, they think more of like physical abuse, because that's mainly what most people think of when they watch different movies and shows. When it's broadcast out, the typical ways that you see domestic violence in the media and different things like that is more of the physical abuse. But what most people don't know, there's actually 5 different types of abuse. And while Dawn comes back, we're going to go over those 5 different topics. But before I do, I don't want to move on too quickly. Blackfire, did you have a comment or anything about the video that we just showed?
No, I actually really liked it. I think it was rather in depth with breaking it down to the most basic of ideals of, you know, the things to watch for, because most times we're conditioned to look for the big things instead of looking for those itty bitty things that actually add up to those big things. Right. So I think it was definitely really good.
Absolutely. Watching it, I was thinking, I'm like, wow, there's like, when you think about it, because you're like, oh, you know, emotional abuse, you kind of just think of like you said, the big things, the big reasons. But it generally, when there's like a big issue or a big red flag, there's usually small little things that lead up to that big catalyst thing that happens. Is rarely is it just something really big out there. So to kind of go into the 5 different types of abuse, we have, again, the one that's mostly known, which is the physical abuse, which is, you know, the hitting, shoving, pinching, biting, those things. This type of abuse is also includes like denying your partner medical attention, or like forcing them, you know, to have like alcohol, drugs, or anything that. So that's more like a physical abuse. Then of course you have the sexual abuse, which is like coercion or an attempt to coerce. And you know, common ones include like marital abuse and different things like that, as well as after a physical assault, you know, demanding or forcing or attempting to force sexual contact, non-consensual, of course. You have emotional abuse, which is what we just showed in the video. Another one that a lot of people don't realize until it's way too late, and even after it's too late, they still don't realize what happened, is economic abuse. Economic abuse is defined as like attempting to make an individual like financially dependent upon that other person, like maintaining total control of financial resources, withholding money or resources, or forbidding someone to like attend school or to better themselves economically or educationally. So that's a really big thing that a lot of people don't even realize is a form of abuse.
Definitely.
And of course, is psychological abuse. And that's, of course, that's that mental aspect of causing fear, intimidation, physically threatening people. But, you know, of course, just kind of with their words, destruction of property, kind of like that psychological isolation from your family and friends or work, you know, just kind of all of those things. So those are the 5 main types of abuse.
Right. And when you was talking about the economical one, the financial part, a good example would be, and we're gonna show a clip, and we got some clips for some movies too to show examples of domestic violence. And sometimes we joke and we play about these movies, like What Love Got to Do with It, when he's like, anime, eat the cake. But for others, this is real life. This is the life that they live. And it's a scene in there, you know, at the end where she had enough, and they're in the car and she beat him or whatever. And then she she leaves and she goes over to the hotel. She goes over to the she runs through and she goes over to the Ramada Inn, and the manager in there, she tells the manager, she says, I'm Tina Turner. I have 36 cents to my name, in a mobile gas card or something was all she had. Now think, Tina Turner, all the billions and millions of records, as famous as she was, as much money as she was, Ike was taking all that money. He was doing everything, physical, emotional. He was covering like all the bases of domestic violence. But in that scene, that right there is a good example of the financial abuse, because she left this man, and when she left him, she had 36 cents. Think of all the millions she made. She had 36 cents in her pocket when she left him. But we're gonna show this clip right quick as well. About the scene this is a scene from the restaurant. And something, like I said again, it's something we all joke about, but this is, someone's real life.
Of course, that's #1 in Europe, and it's moving up the charts here in the U.S. That's Tina Turner and River Deep. More of your favorites coming up, so stay right where you are.
Turn the music down. That's goddamn. Hey, look, what y'all? They got any beer? Hell no, they ain't got no beer, girl. Don't y'all want some breakfast?
No, not for me.
Right. How y'all feeling?
I feel good. You should feel good with a hit song that I had. Have you ever talked to Miss Turner?
Mrs. Turner, that's a married woman you talking to, boy.
So when are you gonna make another single, Mrs. Turner?
Who knows, you know? There you go.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
Son of a bullshit, man. You're supposed to be celebrating, huh? Come on, yeah, all right, we supposed to be celebrating, I guess. Ike and Tina Turner review. Finna go on tour with the Rolling Stones, huh? Yeah, we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate. Hey, can we get some of that cake? Matter of fact, bring that whole cake over here. Okay. Come on, bring us some cake. Get rid of this. Let's see. Don't that look good? Come on, man.
I want to take.
Come on, just up here.
Come on, Ike.
What's the matter, baby?
You high, you embarrassed.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be mouth. See that white man has to open the mouth. She sing all goddamn day long. I ask, you ain't gonna say nothing now. Come on now, I'm asking you nice.
And I'm saying no nice.
You know,
Ike, come on.
Some of this cake. Come on. Cake. Eat some cake. Yeah. Oh, see, you done lost some motherfucking mind.
Leave her alone, Ike.
Come on. Come on, bitch. Get up. Come on. Get up.
Fuck you, Ike. I'm out of here. Fuck you, Ike. I'm out of here. You ain't got to hit me but once. It's all right. It's not all right unless a motherfucker pounds on you. If you had any sense, you get out of here too.
You have me. Get the fuck out of here.
Kiss my ass. You a dead woman if you stay here.
And don't let me catch you around my house, either. I'm gonna sit down and eat some cake, man. Fuck y'all looking at? Oh, just mind your goddamn business. Hey, somebody come in here and clean this shit up, please. God damn, Frost, this cake good. Anime, come on. This cake real good. Anime, just take the cake, please.
Yeah, that scene is just crazy, and a lot of people do make fun of it a lot, but it's just that scene is always heavy in that movie.
Right, it kind of like it got me. But like you said, a lot of people, they joke and they play around about it, but for some, this is reality. This is the life they live. But as you see her friend, then you have some who, when it first happened, they walk away. And then you have the other friend, his friend that was sitting at the table and condoning it, like, just eat the cake so he'll calm down. That's not, you a man and you just seen a man slap this woman, and the only thing you're gonna tell the other one, you didn't try to stop him or anything, but you tell her just eat the cake so everything will be all right.
Well, that's because in situations like that, the gravy train was more important than the casualties on the tracks. They all cared more about placating Ike, keeping Ike quiet so they can keep the money going. So it's like, oh, well, we'll just abide by that. Or people adhere to that ideology of it's not my business.
Right.
It's not my business. And from a psychological perspective, we understand as a society why people do that. Because how many times have we seen somebody, an uncle, a granddaddy, a brother, a daddy, step in to take up for the girl, and she get mad at the family member and go right back to the dude. Or the family member end up in an altercation and say they, you know, there was a news story some years back where a chick was getting beat up or whatever, and her brother went over there to confront the guy. Guy pulls a gun, so the brother shot him. It was self-defense. But the chick like actually went to court and tried to testify against her brother for killing her boyfriend who was beating her behind. So it just depends on how ingrained the abuse is. And the people that stand by, it's not necessarily just because they aren't stand-up human beings. A lot of them just feel like, well, she probably just gonna go back, or this ain't my business and I ain't got nothing to do with that, because if I step in, then she gonna be mad at me, he gonna be mad at me, and guess what? They're gonna be right back together.
Right.
So a lot of people just say, I mind my own business, which is understandable, but it's also the same reason why a lot of people end up dead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with that. A lot of people, and I've noticed that with men specifically, a lot of men in those types of situations, they'll be like, look, that's between them. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I've heard them say that a lot. And then as a woman, that bothers me because I just, from how I was raised, I'm like, no, that should bother you. It should bother you that this man, this grown man, just put his hands on this woman like this.
And it should bother you that you call that person your friend.
Right. Like you should, as your friend, as somebody that, because to me, if you do nothing about it, then you might as well be like him.
Yeah.
Right. Birds of a feather flock together.
But believe it or not, though, the one side we really don't see a lot of that on, that we don't shine a lot of light on, is the females.
Oh yeah, I've seen
the female abusers. And they girlfriends sit around and they kiki and kaka and girl, yeah, you better curse him out and check him. And she's doing emotional abuse, physical abuse. I mean, and she's running the whole gamut. And her friends are sitting right there, co-signing too, high-fiving her for being a strong woman that don't take no crap.
And that's just as bad as well in my book, personally, because I feel like wrong is wrong.
There
just
you
like
go.
I feel like a man shouldn't put his hands on a woman like he's crazy. A woman shouldn't put her hands on a man like he's crazy, because I firmly believe, and if I had a son, I would teach him too. Like, don't let anybody put their hands
on you.
Everybody needs to put their hands to themselves.
That's what I always say. Keep your hands to yourself. My son is 6'6". So I tell him all the time, first off, the minute you enter a room, you the biggest cat in the room, which means you're a target, period. Law enforcement, whoever, when they enter a room, they're zeroing in on you. So if you keep your hands to yourself and she keep her hands to herself, we're all good. But like my grandmother raised him with that old school, you know, you don't hit girls and you don't hit people smaller than you. And it was funny because one day I went over to his cousin's house and he was about 6 or 7, and he was already sprouting. And his girl cousin was sitting on top of him, just rocking his body, just pop, 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 pop. And he ain't doing nothing. So when I get him up off the floor, her brother then attacks him because I guess they're play fighting or whatever. And her brother's biting him. But my son is saying nothing. And I'm like, wait a minute, playtime's over, bro. What's wrong with you? And what grandma told me, don't hit girls and don't hit nobody smaller than me. So that means you're going to let the whole world beat you up? No, baby. I said, we love grandma. What grandma told you is right theoretically. Here's the thing in real life. Somebody hit you, you hit their ass back. I don't care if it's a girl, whatever. I tell his baby mama all the time, hey, don't hit him banking that he's not going to hit you back. And please understand, he hits harder than you. So just because your little, you know, women love to slap folks. Just because your little slap, you think if you slap him, it ain't going to faze him. When he slap 5 from you, don't be upset. Because he hit with his force, you hit with your force. Luckily, they keep their hands to themselves. Because I got a bet over here for both of them.
That's funny, but I agree with that. Like, just I've always been that keep your hands to yourself. If I hit somebody, best believe I fully understand that they're more than likely gonna hit me back. So if I don't want you to hit me back, I'm not gonna hit you.
Right, but see, I've been with women who didn't think that, because at first they'll hit me a couple of times and I would not hit them back because I would try to avoid, because I know me and I know my temper and I know how high I could go if I let you take me there. So it's been occasions where they'll hit me and I won't hit them back, and I give them a warning the first time, like, look, don't hit me, because if I hit you there, it's gonna take an army to pull me the fuck up off of you. So don't do it, because I'm going to another level. So don't do it. And you know, it's been occasions where they tested that gangster, they kept on. But then when I came back and I decided, okay, I ain't had enough, now I'm gonna hit you back. Now everybody looking at me like I'm the one. Like, oh, it's done. No. You know, people provoke you and you would tell them. And that's sometimes happens a lot with women. It does not condone domestic violence in no way, but I know women don't know when to shut the hell up sometimes.
Yeah.
So they'll keep on talking and talk. Wait a minute. Okay. I know I'm a woman, y'all. So I'm looking down my phone. Yes, because I'm female. I identify as female. So, but a woman, like I said, they don't know when to shut up sometimes. It'll be over and they'll keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
But that still don't condone the violence, the physical or wherever it may go. But again, I'm a firm believer. You hit somebody, expect to get hit back.
Yeah.
That's on both ends. Don't hit somebody expecting not to get hit back. But of course, according to society, when it comes to women hitting men or whatever, they always gonna take the man as the aggressor, and that is not always the case, because I had a male friend that was with a crazy ass female that was beating the crap out of him. Then she called the police and then he get arrested, but he wasn't the aggressor. So I'm like, and I'm trying to talk, and I'm at this, I'm like, she hit him. Like, what are you doing? Take her to jail.
Yeah.
Took him to jail because he wasn't as big as your son, Black, but he like 6 feet. I want to say she like 5'5" or something. Small, petite, but she was the aggressor in their relationship. Got him arrested 3 times. Every time the police came, they wanted to take him until twice. The last time, they finally got her the last time. Because the blinds on the balcony, they stayed in the basement apartment in the balcony. So this time she didn't get a chance to call the police. The neighbor calls the police. So the blinds is like wide open. She in there, she throwing pots, she doing everything. She just in there going at them. Police standing right at the door and saw everything. But that's what she do. She tried to go out when she see them and say it was self-defense. He. But the police was standing there at the same time, because I'm pulling up, I'm going over there. The neighbors like, they at it again. So we walk down, I'm saying, here come the police. The police asking me who I am. We looking in the window at the same time. And the good thing about that part, not good that they were fighting, but the same police that took him to jail last time was the same police that came this time. That's all that she was. And I'm looking like, you the same officer that took him to jail. We've been telling you it's her. It was her. They not together no more. They was trying to do counseling and all that. Thank God they not together no more. And no, he wasn't gay or since he was just, really laid back guy. And again, he was raised, you don't hit girls.
Yeah.
You don't hit girls. You don't hit girls.
But it's a lot of men out there that adhere to that. And they will, and it's a big stigma. Black, white, it don't matter. It is a huge stigma for them to admit, hey, my chick is hitting on me. What's crazy is when you talk to a number of them, and I have over the years, a lot of them had those that we talked about when we talked about toxic femininity. A lot of them had those overbearing mothers, those very in your face, very aggressive, physically disciplinarian type moms. And most times it was because there was no male energy in the home. So the mama had to encompass both of them. So when they grow up with that ideal of a woman, they become more accustomed to dealing with the aggressive woman, so that when the physical starts to come out, they just kind of shrink back. And it doesn't make them less of a man or less masculine. To them, it's them doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not hitting a female. I never hit my mother. I never raised up at my mother. I just fall back. And they end up taking it.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate with that. It's unfortunate on both ends because in my personal experience, I've actually never encountered a male being abused by a woman, but I've actually just seen the opposite. Like I've seen situations where a man is raised up on a woman completely unprovoked, like, and just hauled off. Like I remember we were at a kickback, and my friend, her and her boyfriend, they were together. We were all in the same area. We're drinking, they're smoking, everything like that. And then all of a sudden, he just hauls off and hits her. And so we're all in the same general room and everything. So I saw him, and I'm like, wait a minute. And it took me a minute to register
like, did that just happen?
You like this isn't, oh, he just playing with her. Like he actually hit her. And so I'm like, hold on. But then the thing about it, there was men in the house. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, somebody's going to grab him. No, he proceeded to beat this girl to the point where she actually defecated on herself. That's how hard he started beating on this woman. And none of the men, there was one man, and he was actually the only gay man in the house, that raised up on him, got him off of her.
Wow.
And pulled him away and was like, yo, you can't do this and everything. So as the women, we're trying to help her and push her, and he's pushing us to get to her. So we're trying. So the women are trying to stop him. None of us, he's overpowering all of us, still trying to get to her. There was only one man. It was the only gay man in the house.
Wow.
That raised up on him, got him off of her. They separated and everything, and she did end up leaving him and everything after that. But it was just crazy to me because that was my first time actually ever seeing it.
Power and control.
Wow, I don't know what conversation they were having, completely out of nowhere. And my thing is that to me was a dangerous level.
Yeah,
because he did that completely in public in front of everybody and was so comfortable with doing it.
So imagine what he was doing to her when nobody was around.
Right. Exactly. Imagine what he did to her at home. And that is that's crazy. But sometimes you don't know, but you could see certain, I don't even know. Signs. Okay, because I had this one chick, me and my buddy Nita, this little female I was dating, went out with a couple of times. And I kind of saw signs, but I'm like, and my friends would, like I said, sometimes people laugh and they joke about it because I'm telling them, man, something wrong with this girl. This girl crazy. Something wrong with it. It's like, nah, Don, you just picky. Give her a chance. That girl ain't crazy. She crazy. They're like, she's too fine, crazy. I'm telling y'all, this girl, something ain't right with this girl. So we was out one night. We was out in Chicago, up north. She got upset because and I had a flashback because you said you don't know why he just hauled off and slapped her. And it probably was nothing she really probably did because I had a situation, we out. And at the time, I knew a lot of people. I'm from Chicago, but we out. So I hadn't been home in a while. So I'm at home meeting a lot of people coming up. I'm talking to people. So she gets upset because different people keep coming over there. And she was like, who are all these people? I'm like, do I really need to explain to you? Every time somebody walked away, she wanted me to tell them how I knew them, where I knew them. And I'm looking like, so I tell my friend, I said, this hoe crazy. I said, every time somebody walked away, she asking me, well, where you know them from? What happened? She asking me all these questions. So she gets mad now. She wants to leave. So I'm like, bye, go. Get on the train, get on the L, get on the bus, bye. And so my friend's like, nah, don't let her go home by herself. So I'm thinking, okay, I brought her here. Let me at least take her back home. But once I take her back home, I'm done because she crazy. So, yeah, I mean, crazy. I went to the bathroom. I came out the bathroom. I left her standing at the bar, came out the bathroom. She was standing outside my stall, and I'm like, what the hell? So I'm in the bathroom. Who was that you was just talking to in the bathroom? But to get to the point, we left. So I said, okay, because I'm just irritated. I'm just totally irritated now. So I tell my friend, I'm not going to say the young lady name, but my friend Nita, that's fine, because she was here. She could tell y'all, because she was laughing. I was like, Nita, this is not funny. This girl crazy. She's like, man, Don, calm down. That girl ain't crazy. She just like you. Nah, this girl crazy. We gets in the car. Nita in the back. Nita still laughing. I'm driving. Nita still in the back laughing because she up there like, you know, too many people and da-da-da. And did you fuck this person? Did you do? I'm like, girl, I had a life before you. I've only known you I think I only knew about 3 or 4 months. We driving and she just hauled off. Pow! Slapped my head. The car, we like, I mean, we went like this, came back around, went in the gas station. This is my car. This is the gas pump. We stopped. Y'all can't see that. This the gas pump. This my car. My car was like right here.
Wow.
About 2 more inches. Not even. We couldn't even open. They couldn't even open. I had a Blaze at the time. You couldn't even open my car door. So we came up in there. Then all these people ran to see if we was okay. First, they looked like they was running away from the gas station, but once they realized we did not hit that gas can.
Mm-hmm.
So now my friend in the back, now she want to get out. She's shaking like, this bitch crazy. This bitch. Like, girl, I told you that like 2 hours ago, a week ago.
Wow.
So we got there. I politely, after I got myself together, I'm like, whew. Pulled up because, like I said, the door went open. I had to pull up past the gas pump because we was just that close to the gas pump because she hit me so hard. I like days. You know how somebody like this and ran up on the curb, everything. Pulled up, opened the door. Come on, get out. You not gonna get out. Get out. I don't care how you get home. Get out my motherfucking car. Get out. So I left her at the corner of Belmont and Summit at a Shell gas station and never talked to that girl again. Get out my car. Come on, sweetie. Get out my car. I need my stuff. Put it out. Gave her a little thing. I didn't care. She was like, I ain't got no cash. See, I'm a good one. I said, here you go. Here you go. $5, whatever. Get on the train, get on the L. Go on about your business. You just almost killed me. So she was calling, she was calling my phone. Then she wanted to go to my friend, talk about how sorry she was and all this. No. It was about dead. Had I not hit the brake when I did, I mean, my life was like right there. I didn't do what you say a girl did in her pants, or pee on my pants, but I felt like I was about to.
Right.
But one time, and we was about that close from hitting that gas tank, and I would not be here right now. And I never, ever talked to that girl again. I bumped into her some years later. She showed up when I did the magazine release party in Chicago. She showed up. I wanted to put out, but she had paid the money. But I did tell my people there, I say, watch that. That's the girl that almost made me run into the gas tank.
Wow.
But she showed up, and this was years later. The gas tank incident, I want to say that was like 2005, 6. It was early 2000. So this was like 5-6 years later. I ran into her, but I could tell she had not changed because the girl she came with, it was the same thing. And this was a feminine woman. People think feminine women. Let me make that clear, you all. I don't date like manly looking manly. This was a super femme. Nails, stilettos, nails, hair, makeup, super femme that knocked the shit out my ass. Didn't think twice about it. And I could tell that the girl she was with then, when we ran into each other, she had not changed. I could tell from the body energy from the other girl. The other girl was just sitting there the whole night. She came, she sat there, and she did not move. She sat in that one spot. And the only thing I said to her, I said, you ain't changed, but you act crazy up in here. You going to jail tonight, baby girl.
You're a good one, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like my thing is, regardless of your gender identity expression, whatever, if you attempt at any point to end my life, that's it. I'm blocking out on you. Ain't no come on, get out of my car, here $5. No, I'm dead. Like you're dead. If you don't kill me, I have to now kill you. Because
Her thing was,
that's
I
crazy.
was trying to kill
like, bro. Oh my God. Like I felt my shoulders tense up while you were saying that story. Cause I'm like, yo, I couldn't. I couldn't. She would be in a coma right now to this day. Like after I would have beat the brakes off that girl.
And the only thing my friend could do when she got out the car is get out and kiss the ground. She just got out and kissed the ground. She was just like, I said, I told you that something was wrong with this girl. But when y'all was around, see, because she had never seen that side, because how they were saying in the video, she pretended when she was around my friends or we was at gathering, she came off like she was so nice and so sweet and so this and so that. Or if I'm sitting there, oh, Don, let me go fix your plate. But they didn't know. Yeah, the whole want to fix my plate because she don't want me to move. She want me to stay right here in this one spot. That's why she doing all of this. Like she crazy. Like, yeah. So being masculine or being feminine definitely does not have anything to do. Feminine women can be just as abusive as masculine men, masculine of center women, all of that. But we do have another. This is a classic movie, and this is so real. It's called The Burning Bed. I do want to
that was my movie right there.
Share this as well. And again, we're just having a discussion about domestic violence. We're not doctors, counselors, or anything. So we're just having conversation, general conversation about, what to look for and things that we see in everyday life that we tend to overlook, that we just overlook a lot. Go ahead.
Go back to the comments that we have. So Latia de La Paz said Raleigh, North Carolina listening. So hello. Lamont Baker says evening letters. He said, oh no, them other men are not men. That's how I felt in that situation. They weren't to me. And I talked dog shit about every single one of them for a while because I was like, bro, y'all not real men to me. But yeah, let's get into The Burning Bed.
Its wrenching performance as Francine Hughes garnered one of TV's highest ever viewing figures when this movie was shown in America. The true story of The Burning Bed. A marriage begins, full of sweet expectation. But it isn't long before the sweetness turns sour.
I told you not to go in town without me.
He really loves you.
Don't you ever know what to go on me. Ever.
Domestic violence has a nasty way of becoming a habit.
You know how to behave.
He loves you. It's not really so bad, is it?
And society has a nasty habit of making excuses.
It ain't so bad.
Nobody's going to help you now.
Some women have to put up with their men, especially if there's children. But mostly the men don't mean it.
I'll be you anyway.
I love you.
Boy, you got a problem. Get out of the way.
Woman's got to take the bitter with the sweet, you know. Ricky loves you, Frank. Something awful.
And right.
This is the story of one woman who finally had enough.
Miss Hughes, I've been told that you committed murder. Is that correct?
Those emotions.
Wow, that looks crazy. But you know what? I think the thing about that trailer, watching that, is that if you notice, she went to her mother her mother was like,
that was his mother. That was the
mother.
mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was mother, but it was a maternal figure. So that's crazy that you went to somebody that you felt like would understand and help you, and they're like, "Oh, well, you know, it's not that bad. He loves you. He doesn't mean it." And I think that's so crazy.
Enablers.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that movie, that mother, first of all, I cannot think of her name, but she's an Oscar-winning actress. Her performance in that movie was phenomenal as the mother. When I say that character was the perfect poster child of an abuse enabler. Because she turned the other cheek at everything. She knew what her son was doing. Wow. And it was still like, okay, and she still shouldn't have killed him. Like, oh, she was still wrong. And it was like, I understand that's your son. But dang, lady, he dog walking her.
And she upheld him to the bitter end. Even in death, she still stood by him. She stood by
him. Yeah, all the way down to testifying. Like, my son was a good boy. Really? The same one that had her ass swole up shut? The same one that beat your grandkids? Wow. The same one that you're scared of? But that's another part, a facet that never gets looked at. Most of the time, the enabler only enables out of fear. Or they enable out of a learned behavior mentality. Meaning, chances are, if he grew up to act like that, his daddy probably acted like that. Or the mama probably acted like that. You know, it's normally a learned behavior or it's a fear response. And with abuse, of course, you know, it can go either way. You know, being in an abusive household, just seeing it, you can go either way. You could become the abuser or you could be completely adverse to that level of abuse. It's all about what each person decides to do when they're put in that scenario.
Absolutely. I definitely think, and I actually watched recently on I think it was called True Crimes, episode of this man as a kid. He started having these violent outbursts against his sister. And the mom would protect the sister, but this is a Black family, and they have that old adage, what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
That's basically what they were doing. So they never talked about it. But he had almost killed his sister like a couple times. So then as an adult, he gets older, goes off to the service, the sister thinking, okay, well, he's going to be better. He comes back and he gets married, ends up beating up his first wife. Then he comes back into the house and tries to beat up the sister again. He comes to the house with a gun. She calls the police. Police come arrest him. She told the police about the gun. So their brother, the older brother, comes over and convinces the sister
to not tell about the gun.
And not say anything about the gun so he doesn't get arrested. And was basically like, well, if you do this, then he's not going to come and hurt you anymore. So she's thinking, fine, if I just tell them I didn't see the gun, he'll leave me alone. So she just kind of was like, fine, I'm fine with that. Then later on, the brother who was doing the abuse ends up getting married with the wife. He ends up starts hurting the wife and actually killed the wife's daughter and almost killed her. And everything like that. So it was a pattern of this, you know, nobody's checking it. So he's still having and still abusing and hurting these people. And the family just was like removed from it. Like, look, we're, you know, he's out of our hands.
Yeah. And it's like, it's all, I saw that episode too. And it's almost like they just pass on the problem. Because the woman that he was with said it. She was like, damn, I've talked to his sister before.
Right.
She could have at least told me.
Right.
Like, hey, my brother's a little unstable. Watch what the hell you do. And
right.
Nobody said anything.
Yep. Hiding that out. Silence hides violence. And that's very common in abusive relationships. People around them know. And instead of reporting it or anything, they just keep quiet about it. They hide it. They make excuses for the aggressor. And so a lot of times, you know, it's hard for a person to leave when they're going to people for help and they got a lot of people around that's enabling this person to continue to do this. And they're hiding the fact that this person has issues because, oh, I love him. He don't mean it. He won't do it no more. And then 2 seconds later, he turn around and he mollywop our ass again.
Mm-hmm. And it takes that, and for some people and for some women, like with the what's love got to do with it, with her friend versus her, like her friend said, you only got one time to hit me and I'm out of here.
Right.
So there's some women and men as well have that response. You got one time.
Like me.
With me and myself, I had a relationship one time. And we fought like two grown men in that apartment, and they ended up going to jail for that one time. You got one time to put your hands on me, and that's it. But then you have others who are like, okay, well, he didn't mean it. It's okay. Or because of that abuse, and they see that in the home growing up, they think that's how love is. Because I was also in a relationship with someone who had abusive partners in the past, and they couldn't understand and fathom how to love somebody and how to be loved without that person putting them hands on it. So me and them would that was actually the first relationship where somebody had pushed my buttons to the point where I even thought about it. And once I thought about trying to do anything, I had to leave the relationship. I was like, no, because that's not me.
Right. And that's where they wanted to get you to.
They're used to it. Yep. And the person before me did it all the time. It's almost like they didn't think I loved them because I wasn't doing it.
Yeah. And that, believe it or not, that's a sick part of it all. Like, I've actually dated people the same way who will try to push you. And it's like, baby, this ain't me. That ain't me. If I got to put my hands on you, I can't be with you. Right. That means you have more control over me than I do. And that's dangerous. But that's like how you could go one way or the other. Like me, anybody who knows me, they hear me talk about my father with such reverence. You know, that was my dude. But my father had some psychological issues from Vietnam. You know, he probably wasn't right before he went, but he came back and he did. I mean, he came right back and walked into a divorce and then found the love of his life, and then only had her for like 4 or 5 years, had 2 kids, and then she died in a freak accident, leaving him with 2 toddlers. Probably wasn't the best thing to do. But he grew up, my father would hit you with whatever the hell was close to him. That was it. My father, like real deal. I was looking at my medical records the other day because I was having a little ancestral talk, and I had to tell him, damn, you old man. Because at 45, I had to come to terms with the fact that though I love my father and he was my hero, he's the most smartest man that I ever knew, he also was my biggest tormentor. It's like my father literally broke almost every bone in my body at least once. We talking about ankles, wrists, nose, all that. And everybody knew. I mean, my siblings caught it too, but I stayed at home the longest. So they didn't catch it as bad as I caught mine into adulthood. But mind you, when we talk about the mothers, the enablers, my grandma was the best. My grandma could spout you the Bible front to back. She was married to Jesus. She was pure as the driven snow. And she would hear her son upstairs. She lived right downstairs. But how do you tell the landlord, stop beating your kids, stop beating your wife? When the landlord will yell at you too.
Right.
You know, I asked him when I got grown, hey, Daddy, you always tell us about that. Honor your mother and your father, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I've heard you yell at grandma before. What's up with that? He told me, you mind your business. What go on between me and my mama, go on between me and my mama. And you know what I had to say to that? You're right. Because she allows it.
Right.
Like I told my son, yeah, we argue and he gets heated and he get loud and he got a booming voice. And I be quick to tell him, shut the block up before I hit you with a bat. This is my house. You ain't finna loud talk and verbally bully me. Because that's what some people do when they can't control the narrative. When they can't control the conversation, that's what leads to the abuse. Because now they got to shut you up. It's the same thing when you segue into the other types of abuse. When you look at the financial abuse, they can't control how good you look. They can't control how successful you are. But what they can control is they make the most money, or you might be temporarily dependent upon them due to like a pandemic or something.
Right.
You know, and they can pull those strings. You know, they're the one that's paying for the vacation. So then they can then turn that into the physical and sexual abuse with I had a partner tell me, we went to Vegas. I personally hate Vegas. It's too crowded, too many people, my anxiety. But we went to Vegas and we had been there for 4 days. And I had these 4 days jam-packed with stuff, helicopter rides, tours, all kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And this person had the nerve to say to me, we only got one more day here. I mean, damn, I brought you all the way here. The least you could do was give me some. I said, wait a minute, hold up. Pump your brakes. And I looked at the person and I said, wife, dear wife, you mean to tell me that you brought me somewhere I did not want to go, which was manipulation. You forced me to take time off work. You know, I much rather make money than take vacation. So that's financial abuse. And now you're going to belittle and degrade me because I don't want to have sex right now. Maybe I've just been so busy trying to have fun in a place that I hate that I really didn't think about having sex. Or maybe I was going to blow your back out tonight. Maybe I was going to blow it out first thing in the morning. You don't even know. And then what I did is I did call up room service and had them send up a copy of my order for the next morning. I had actually ordered champagne and whipped cream and strawberries, going to do a little freaky wake up, woo woo.
Right.
I had massages lined up and everything. But you going to jump the ship before the miracle happens. Because your monkey need to be twerked right now.
Right.
I ain't want to clap no cheeks right then. But that's the thing. People will, in different types of abuse, will segue and carry over into another type. And a lot of times it's because the abuse is all encompassing, which is why it's so hard for people to talk about it.
Power and control.
There you go.
Absolutely, definitely. And that's an interesting point. Like I said, when we were talking about the economic abuses, that a lot of people don't really register that. They think of, oh, we're in a relationship, especially like married couples who, you know, file taxes together or jointly, or they have like joint accounts and different things like that, where there's one person that usually manages the finances. Or things like that. Like I know friends who are in relationships and one particular partner, just because they're good with money, kind of manages everything. There's a difference between, oh, well, this person's going to do it because they're really good with the money. And then, oh, well, you work and you do all these things, but then all your money goes to this other person. And they take it immediately. Like in that Turner situation, she was, you know what I'm saying? She was complete. She's Tina Turner, and for you,
she had 36 cents in her wallet when she left him to her name.
Wow. I can imagine being Tina Turner and only having 36 cents.
36 cents. So imagine how that feels to somebody who only makes 40 a year.
Right.
And they busting their ass and they partner making like 70 just sitting on their ass. And it's like that partner that's making 70 is like, well, you know, this my house and my stuff. And, you know, this, but that person that's making 40 every payday is giving money to the partner. Like, hey, this is my contribution.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Even if they breaking themselves, is this my contribution? It's unequal. And it's like that person then can emotionally rape that person. By making them feel like, well, you're not sustaining our life together. Maybe I should find me somebody who can. Maybe I should find somebody in my tax bracket.
Right. Or in the instance where you have the person who makes the most money, the person who makes the least is like, oh, well, you make the most, so you need to do this. You got to take care of everything. Everything you make got to go to the bills. If we go somewhere, you got to pay for it because you got it. And then, because I've been in that situation myself where I made more than the other individual and my money was paying for everything. We lived in separate houses, but my money was helping them pay their bills and putting groceries in their house. And every we went on, I was paying for it and everything like that.
We live in separate houses. I'm sorry, I ain't paying your bills. I'm responsible for my shit. You're responsible for yours.
But the thing about that individual, when it happened, I wasn't really aware because I wasn't thinking.
Right.
I'm just, oh, well, let me help you.
You was being a good girlfriend.
Oh, well, yeah, I can help you out. You know,
helping and continuously to pay for something for somebody else is two different things. I will help and I have helped because I've always stayed like by myself. She had her own, I had my own. I treat you to dinner. If she need me to pay a phone bill this month, that's fine. But I'm paying her phone bill every month. No, I'm not doing that. We don't live together. We not committed like that. And I'm a free-hearted person, but I ain't doing all that extra.
But at this time,
I'm sorry.
Also, you have to think at this time I was 25, just turning 26, and this individual was 43.
Nah, that's wrong.
So it was like
oh, wow.
going on in that relationship dynamic.
Yeah, she had her reverse sugar baby.
Anyway, I guess that we was gonna have on earlier. I'm gonna bring her in. It was some mix up with the times because she's in Vegas, so it's some mix up with the times and the emails, and she just reached out, so she is on. So I'm well, she was right there. She'll be back. There she go. You have to unmute your mic for us. So yeah, you got your mic muted.
Okay.
There
How y'all doing?
Hey,
yeah, it was a mix up with the times and stuff.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was like, wait a minute, let me go on this email. Like I'm committed to it. I gotta get back on it. Y'all doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Good.
Today is my niece's birthday. Happy birthday to her. She would have been 24, so
okay.
That's where we at with that one.
Happy birthday. Happy
Thank you,
birthday.
kindly. Thank you, kindly.
So we were talking. I didn't mean to put that on your face. I need to get that off. We was talking about domestic violence trapped at home, and we were showing different clips. We talked about the Tina Turner movie, The Burning Bed. We showed a video earlier that broke down 14 different things to look for, how to know you in the emotionally domestic violence relationship. I don't really consider, well, I don't know why they put violence at the end of that, but emotional abuse. And we do have another clip that we need to show right quick, and then we're gonna let you come in. But we basically just talking about domestic violence, having general conversation, speaking from experience and giving different scenarios and what people can look for. And we was using the part of What Love Got to Do with It when he's like, anime eat the cake, how a lot of times we all joke about it, but that some people really live that life. So we're gonna show this clip and then we're gonna get back into the subject. And this is a Lifetime movie.
Too bad.
I'll wear my anniversary dress.
Good. This would have made you look like a whore.
Wow.
Right. Not really physical, but definitely emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that psychological abuse like we were talking about, where people kind of play on different things because the fear in her face, like as soon as she put the dress on, like her whole energy shifted from being excited to she's got ribs, and he's like, oh well, you would have looked like a whore in it anyway. Like, that's your wife. Like, and I'm sure you probably brought her the dress. Like, so it's like, wow.
No, she brought the dress herself, but she was getting an award that night, and that's just the same what she wanted to put on the dress, and he ripped it up because he didn't want her to wear the dress.
Wow,
that's a good movie. It's a Lifetime movie. You know, I know a lot of people think Lifetime is for old people, but I love Lifetime movies.
It I need to get into that. I need to. What's the name of that movie?
Death Saved My Life. Yeah, that
it's
a good, with Megan Good. It's a good movie. It's on Lifetime.
Okay.
It's a good movie. But did you have anything that you want to speak on? Any words in reference to domestic violence and?
Ooh, yeah. So, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like, I guess I'm gonna start with the lifestyle first. So as far as the gay world, let's just leave it at that. It appears that a lot, well, I'm not gonna say a lot, most of dominant women, they feel as though they have to portray to be men when they really don't, because at the end of the day, we still women. So I feel as though we should treat each other as such, as far as respect. It comes to emotional, physically, everything. It's a lot of people that has a lot of insecurities, so they feel as though they don't know how to love because maybe of their past, and maybe they feel like that's the only way to address themselves as far as expressing love through pain. So you have people that you have different types of abuse. You have people that are the abuser and people that loves to be abused, if that make any sense. Some women that get in relationships, they feel as though they want to have control. And the only way they want to have control, they feel like they want to be, I guess, the man, because most men are physically abusive, I'm guessing. I'm gonna use me as an example. My mother and my father was in an abusive relationship. As a kid, growing up at 7 years old, I used to watch them fight a lot. And it was horrible, to the point where I almost killed my own father. Wow. So my mother had to stop me. I think I was about maybe 12 at the time, if not younger, but I remember from 7 years old growing up, he used to just beat her because he was a heroin addict. So a lot of the stuff comes from home when you have parents that be drug affiliated, whether it's alcohol or heroin. He was a heroin addict. He OD'd eventually. My mother died first, but she was dead in the fire. That's another story. Now, growing up, of course, I didn't think abuse is. I don't think abuse is right. Now I've been in like maybe 2 relationships committed, and out of those, I'm gonna say 3. Out of those 3, me personally was in a. I used to drink a lot, so I used to drink a lot because I had a lot of deaths in my family, and that was my way of dealing with it. I never really dealt with grief. So when I was in relationships, I don't want to say her name because she's not on here. If she was on here, I'd let her speak up, but maybe next time. However, one of my past relationships, I just had blackouts, and she told me that I hit her, and I argued it up and down like I would never do that because I love her. So she told me one day that I hit her, and her sister had to be the witness. So one time we was at the Golden Nugget up north in Chicago. We was at a breakfast, and I was driving drunk, and I fell asleep behind the wheel. They had to take over. Wow. It was bad. I used to drink a lot, so I stopped myself from driving for a long, long time because of that. But I used to do it because I used to do it. That's how I was dealing with death, right?
Right.
So when I woke up, I was behind the wheel, and everybody was like 10 people trying to get the keys from me. So when I came to, I was like, "What's going on?" They said, "We're trying to take the keys because you're drinking and driving."
Right.
So keys, and they left me in the car. I said, "I don't want to eat." So at this time, I'm sloppy drunk. I said, "I don't want to eat." They said, "You need to eat." I said, "No, just go." So they took the keys, went in, they eaten. So when I came to, I'm looking around, like the first thing I'm thinking or remembering is, where's my keys? Like, who got my keys to my car? That's all I know. So I remember everybody going, it's like my memory trying to come back. Everybody into the Golden Nugget up north in Chicago. So I goes and I said, "Hey, where are my keys? Where are my fucking keys at?" So I'm all belligerent. I'm cussing. They said, "No, you drunk." I said, "I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk." So when I reached for the keys, they wouldn't give them to me. So at that point, I blacked out. I didn't remember anything. But when I came to, I had everybody like this, hand me against the wall.
Oh,
and
wow.
You just hit my sister. I'm like, "What do you mean?" So I didn't hit nobody. They said, yes, you blacked out. You hit my sister, and she had a black eye. And that was from not me just being there on a daily occasion. It was because of me allowing alcohol to take over. So that's one reason people go through domestic violence. And I felt bad. You know, I'm like, well, that's not even my character. So I broke it off until I got help, until I wanted to seek help for myself. But she wanted to keep on with the relationship. But it went further on to that because she was into guys, and you know, her mom was spiritual, and she couldn't really choose what she wanted, so I just let it go because now it's all emotional as far as me trying to be her woman. She can't figure out if she want to be gay or not, and it was just a lot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot. So it wasn't just me just beating up, it was just me blacking out and having those situations. So I've been single for a very, very long time because of that. My other relationship, I was in a relationship, and those was the ones that get caught in their lies, and I confront them about it, but they want to strike you. So at that point now, I'm getting beat up, like face scratched up, you know, but I don't want to hit them because look at me. I'm not finna hit you. I'm big as hell. I'm not finna fight you. I'll fight a man, but I'm not finna fight you. Like for real.
Right.
So they scratch you up, and I'm like, what are you doing? So, you know, you'll push them out the way and, you know, try to stop them. I done had women come out with knives with me, try to hit me with the car, hit with cars.
Oh, God.
And I try to figure out, well, what's going on? They say, are you sexing them? I say, hell yeah. They say, that's the reason. You're giving it good. You're doing it too good. I said, is that such a thing? Yeah. I never knew that. Like,
they always say that. Yeah, I've heard that before, and it makes no sense to me because you know I want the good sex, but I don't want my ass beat with the good sex.
You gotta wake up and the motherfucker got a knife up your motherfucking head.
Right.
Where you think you're going and right. So yeah, so when it comes to domestic violence, I'm totally against it. You know, I just feel like, you know, if it's something within the household, whether it's growing up in your family, or if it's something within a relationship or whatever the case may be, try to get some help or talk to somebody or at least talk about it to anybody. It ain't got to be no shrink. It can be a regular person, somebody that you can confide in and trust. Right. At least talk about it. Don't just keep it all in because what's going to happen, you're going to explode. You're going to explode. And you're not, and if you was drinking like I was, you're not going to remember. And that's the bad part on my part. So I can only speak about me because that's my personal experience when it comes to domestic violence. So you guys out there beating on your women, stop. It's not worth it. You don't want to one day you say you love her and beating on somebody and blacking their eye is not a sign of love. Where's the love in it? You know, you don't want to see them with no black eye. You don't want to see them bleeding and cutting up their clothes, slicing their tires, breaking out their windows.
Wow.
It was a situation. I was dating a young lady, and I was drinking again. It happened more than once. I was drinking again, but I didn't hit her. I tore up a house and didn't remember. I blacked out. You know, and it's like when you come to and you look at this like, did I do that? You don't want to believe it, but when you got people there that witness it, it's painful. Not just for them, but for the person that did it. You know, I'm a very loving person. I don't tend on harming people or nothing like that. But once you realize and take responsibility of your own action, then you can move forward in relationships. So that's why I'm still single, because I want to make sure, if you go drink and you're around people, are you snapping on everybody, or you just snapping on people you sleep with? So it ain't just people you sleep with, it's just something that you feeding. It's a poison. It's some demonic spirit or something that you got to get up out you. So maybe I shouldn't be drinking as much. Maybe I should stick with smoking weed. Make an excuse for another bad habit, right?
Right.
Right.
So that's how I feel about that, you know.
A lot of people don't really kind of think about it as well. Of course, not to condone violence, domestic violence, but the toll from the abuser. Like they're oftentimes a victim themselves, or they grew up watching certain things. Like I was watching, it was kind of like an interview with this man. He's a pimp, and when he grew up, he used to see his father beat on his mother and pimp her out. And he loved his mother, and he couldn't really understand why his mother would allow his father to do that to him. So then when he got older, now he doesn't see women as like actual, like deserving of love or anything, which makes it easy for himself to be a pimp. That's why he treats women the way he does. He doesn't respect them. He doesn't, because he grew up seeing that his father using all that, to him, it just equated to, oh, well, if she let him do this, then she's nothing. So all women are nothing. And then he kind of feeds into that. It's similar with, people who grow up in abusive households, like Blackfire was saying, they go one of two ways. Either they become an abuser themselves, or they completely go against it on the other end of the spectrum. And that kind of sounds like what happened in your particular case. Like, you don't, because that alcohol was feeding that hole, that void for you. So it was numbing that pain for you, but it was also kind of feeding into these underlying other issues that need to be addressed as well.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, I'm just gonna be single. Like, I ain't got no luck with women. Like, what's going on? And then it's like I'll be attracting the wrong ones. I'm like, okay, what is it? Should I just start wearing? Maybe I should change my dress. I don't even know what it is. I mean, like, I try to ask people. They be like, they don't even want to tell me. They be like, oh no, you cool. You just gotta slow down. I said, no, I want you to be honest. So I need people that's honest with me. Like, well, what is it? Why am I attracting these type of women? Not that, I'm talking about even the ones that I try to date. It start off good, and then it's like, if they want sex, and if I'm telling them no, they get an attitude, now they mad, and you all type of bitches and hoes. You be like, I'm just trying to get to know you. You know what I'm saying? If I don't want to sleep with you, you can't get mad, because it's easy to get the pussy. That's easy. But you don't want to keep going down the same path. So I have to figure out a way to change it up. Okay, let me slow down on that part and see where they end up here. Do they have any? Can they hold a conversation? Half of them can't even hold a conversation.
Yeah, that's true, because I experienced that a lot during the time when I was dating. It was like I would meet them on Friday. They was ready to give it up that same night. And I'm like, I don't do one night stands. And then I would date women, then they would come off like they were sweet, and then they would turn real aggressive. And like you, I would ask some of my friends, like, what's going on? Why is she being so aggressive? And they'd be like, oh, because Don, you real laid back, and you real laid back. So they feel like they could like bully you or be aggressive with you because I'm so laid back. But I'm not as laid back as they think, because you push them wrong buttons. You're going to get the aggressive Don. You're going to get the asshole part. But it was the same way. So I took a minute. Well, I didn't date nobody at all. I was just like, I was bothered with women when I felt like being bothered with them.
Okay.
I had got to that point, and I stayed single for like 6 years before I got with my wife. I was done. I was like, it got to be something I'm doing, because I'm attracting a bunch of crazy women, and you attract what you are.
Right.
So, and if
that make a lot of sense.
You are, I'm like, okay, it got to be something that I'm doing, because I kept getting the same type of woman. It'll be a different woman, but like pretty much the same personality, same aggressiveness, angry, or she had been in previous relationships that were violent, some type of domestic violence, and then I'm catching it. You ain't man enough. I ain't a man.
There we go. Like.
And I think I got that part a lot. I got that more so than anything. And so they would take how I dressed and just assumed I was some Superman. And then they'll get with me and realize I'm really a female, like a woman, like I'm a woman. And so then they'll be like, you're not man enough. And then they want to be all aggressive, just like the young lady I was telling y'all earlier that slapped me in the car. I was telling about an incident, when I was up north, and we left a club, and I was dating this female who was upset because a bunch of people, I knew a bunch of people. We was at the club, and they kept coming speaking, and she was getting upset because every time somebody, well, where you know them from? Where you know them from? So she wanted to leave. And when we left, and we was up on Belmont, we was left the club, and we was driving, and she reached over and she smacked me. And I want to say that's Belmont. It's a Shell gas station right on the end. Going,
CKs?
Huh?
CKs? Or the violence you got? CKs.
CKs. It was by around CK's area. Come in that Shell gas station. We came about. I mean, we was like this close from hitting that gas tank, and I ain't talked to her no more after that night. I put out at the gas station, and she wanted to know how she was gonna get home. I gave her $5 to get on the touch the red line. Brittany said she wouldn't even did that. No. I ain't got no money. No. I was like, here go $5. Go up there and get on the red line.
Yeah, you better walk the stroll.
We got like 10 different L's. Whichever one gonna take your ass home, motherfucker, get on it, because you ain't getting back in my house.
Like I said, messing with me, she would have to sell something. Like she would have to walk that stroll something, baby girl. Because if you walking, count yourself lucky that you walking away.
Right.
Completely lay you out. So that's my saving grace right there.
I remember coming out of a club, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, you know, and you know, we popular now. Everybody knows us, right? So you know, I think it was CK's or the Village Bar. So we coming out the club. No, it was a Panberry party. It was super packed. I was shitty sharp, and the women I was with was sharp. I was with my friend. So we out the club, and then it was like somebody over there fighting. We over there like, I said, I don't want to go watch nobody fight. So we sitting there talking, and somebody looking for you, Ree. I'm like, I don't know who it could be. Some girl running towards me, just looking at her because I'm thinking she fine, and she running with these heels on. Well, at least I thought she had on both. So when she got close to me, and I'm just looking at her, and the motherfucker took her heel off and hit me in the head. And I'm just standing there like, what the fuck? And so my buddy came and grabbed her. And I'm like, so I'm in shock, like, what? So somebody came to me and they say, oh my God, don't look in the mirror. I had a big ass knot on my head.
Oh, wow.
At that point, I'm trying to get to the cop. The police was calling everything. So all I wanted was revenge. I'm looking like, I don't even know who she is. So now I'm arguing with my girlfriend at the time. She said, so now it's like an argument. Well, obviously you must have slept with her because or something. I said, I don't even know who she is. I said, I think she was at a party. She spent the night out on the couch and that was it. Nah, you did something to her and this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. So I'm looking like, I don't know what she is. So she was in the car. I went to the car trying to grab her out the car, but I never could get to her because the police was like, nah. I said, man, look at my damn forehead. They said, oh man, she got you good. So they, see, it was teasing me that she got you good. What you do to her? Did you give her too much? Did you give her enough? So it was like, you ain't making no better. I said, so how y'all gonna let them go away? They said, because look at you, man. You're not finna fight the female. I'm looking like, I ain't gotta fight a female. Tell a girl to come out. I don't give a damn who it is. Somebody can get these hands. So at that point, I wanted to beat the ass, but I never got to him. I'm glad I did because I was mad. But that turned out to be an argument between me and my girlfriend on the way home. The one that's confused about what she wanted. So, it's like these relationships, and I've been single for 5 years now, probably going on 6, right? So I'm looking like, whatever. I'm not looking. People come to me. Why you single? I choose to be. I choose to be. It's a choice of mine, right? Because I don't want to go ahead. It's a lot of cuckoo birds, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, bipolar, zapolar, whatever you want to call it, polar. It's a lot of them out there. And you can't tell by just looking at them. So my crazy self used to say, let me see what kind of hairstyle the other girls wore so I know don't date them type. So I didn't know what to look for because I didn't know. If she got that kind of hairstyle, I don't want to date her. If she talk like this.
And it's funny you say that because none of my women, I like women. So the only thing my women typically had in common is that none of them was taller than 5'4". They was all between 5 to 5'4", and either petite or little. So, but other than that, look wise and all, I can't. And because I was trying to figure out the same thing during my dating stage, what, let me try a different woman. But I'm looking up here like it didn't matter. And then I dated a 5. It didn't matter if they was tall, short. They were good to look at, but they someone clicking up here. But then that wasn't even true either, because then I tried to date somebody who was totally out the box for me. She wasn't the typical woman that I would date. So I said, well, let me try something different. Let me try something different. Dated somebody that I thought was different, but she ended up being worse than the other ones, and she wasn't even good to look at, which made it even more fucked up. Because it's like, okay, you doing all this crazy shit, and you ain't even fine. And
them the worst ones. Like, I'm color struck. I used to go after light skinned women only. So when I finally started to date the dark skinned women, they crazier than them. So I wasn't dating the girl. She was liking on me. So I said, well, let me try to get to know you. And that's exactly how the conversation went. But the girl followed me one time at my crib, and I ended up dipping with my ex. And she was at the window listening. She was listening to us having sex through the window. So when I came out, I said, well, somebody at my window. So when I went back to the girl house, that I was trying to get to know, the motherfucker tried to run me over. When I came to the house, she was in the kitchen cutting some chicken. Talking about some, this is Ree's leg. This is Ree's neck. I swear to God on my mama. She was cutting up chicken, describing my body parts. I said, something wrong with you. She sprayed me with mace. I sent myself to Roseland. When I came back to retrieve my stuff, she cut up all my clothes and was hanging them on the branch of the tree.
Oh yeah, I got a story about that.
So we do have a comment. So our comment, Lucy Schumber, I was about to say that sometimes in relationships with a person, who has been in an abusive relationship, the new partner gets blamed for the abuse, especially if there's been no professional support or assistance. Exactly, Lucy. That's kind of similar to what me and Black Fire were talking about, how I was in a relationship with somebody who was used to getting abused, and because I was not abusing them, they tried to poke and prod and to get me to that level where I would do that because they hadn't sought the support or the assistance they need to kind of heal past it. So they were trying to turn me into that abuser, and I just wasn't for it because I was like, that's not me. Because me personally, if I get to a point where I can cuss you out like that or put my hands on you, to me, then you're no different than somebody in the street. Obviously, we don't need to be in a relationship.
And that can also
somebody I love.
And that can also be seen conversely, where it's a situation like it's a brand new relationship. Like, I'll use myself as an example. I was dating this lady, and she was used to dating masculine identified women. And for some reason, she fixated on me like she thought I was masculine identified. And I'm like, I am so girly, get out of here. But we dated, and she was used to her ex like manipulating her with sex. Like she was one of them type, and that she's one I would call a stud, like a horse. Like, first of all, she looked like a horse, but she was the kind of chick that would sit up with dudes all day, smoking weed, playing video games. You know, her girl come in, she got to slap her all on the ass and degrade her in front of the dudes and stuff. But then you will pass out high and leave these cats in your crib with your lady, your step kid, all that. So when I came along, I'm a low key person. First off, I ain't never pressed for sex, so I ain't never finna be all up on you like that. Two, I kind of like you for more than what you got between your legs. So let me see what the rest of you is all about before I even decide if I'm gonna go that route with you. And she would get mad. Like, she would turn it around because that's what she was used to. That was her norm. So what I was doing in her mind was abusive. I was withholding something that she was accustomed to getting. So I would get accused of using sex to control her. Oh, you just don't want to give me none because you don't want me to go do this. Well, no, boo, because you're prone to cheating. So if I wanted to keep you at home, I'd probably give you some. But because I just really don't care, I'm going to hold my tasty cakes to myself until I want to give them to you. So she kind of turned it around, and I was the new person, but I was being blamed for abuse that I had not committed.
A reverse psychology mess.
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of times people do think that withholding sex is a form of I'm only gonna have sex with you if you this, that, and the other. That yeah. We had another comment.
So another comment that Lucy says, she says, even if they don't try and provoke you in arguments, you can find yourself asking, who are you listening to? Or that is not what I said or did. Yes, because a lot of times people will kind of turn things and flip things and make it seem like you said something you didn't, to the point that's a part of that emotional manipulation where it's like, I said the sky was blue, but you arguing me down saying that I said it was green. But because you're so adamant and passionate about it, now I'm second guessing myself, like, well, shit, maybe I did say it was green and I forgot. You know what I'm saying?
That's a gaslighting method. You turn around.
Right.
Who knows that the conversation are crying. You know, so now you're telling them how you feel about something. Hey, babe, I think this is not right. And, you know, I ain't feeling this way. They burst out into tears. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to detract from your message to tend to them. Why are you crying? That's not what I said. Okay. Then you're going to try to over explain yourself. But all you're doing at that point is catering to them. because they just manipulated you into making the situation about them. They then became the victim of it all.
Right. Passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
That's another way of passive aggression, just kind of saying things and always wanting to turn things around and be there, especially if you confront them on something and then all of a sudden they'll kind of either turn it around and try to make it seem like you're the problem. And if that doesn't work, then that's when the gaslighting, oh, well, no, this. And then if that doesn't work, then now here comes the physical abuse where now we're yelling and screaming at each other and everything else like that. And it becomes this vicious cycle with people, and people do have to get help. There is no, oh, we just gonna pray on this and pray it away. Like, people really need to take care of their mental health and understand when it's not everybody else, it's you. It's you. Like, you're the bottom line. When you were talking about you were attracting all these different types of women, to me, on a spiritual level as well and a therapeutic level, to me that signals that there is something that in you that is attracting them. So there's a piece of something that hurt or whatever that needs to be healed so that you're no longer attracting this energy. And we have another comment that says, my question is, did you have a problem before I said something? If not, it's my turn. So that's usually the question that she poses. And it's really good to have in therapy, they have this thing that's called mirroring. And it's a practice where somebody will say something to you. So if we're having a conflict, a conversation, we need to have a difficult conversation. I tell you my feelings and how I feel. And then the other person that I'm talking to has to immediately tell me, okay, this is what I heard you say. And then at that point, it allows me as the person who's expressing my feelings to be like, okay, yes, that's what I said, or no, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. And it helps people kind of healthily go through dialogue and get a clear understanding of what's going on when you have to have these conversations. Because when you're dealing with someone who's a victim of abuse, they tend to kind of perpetuate that abuse going forward if it's not healed. So then everything becomes a, say, and that's the same thing with triggers. If I'm just meeting you, I don't know what your trigger is. I don't know that. So if I say something, like you were talking about at one point, drinking was a thing for you. So if I like having drinks and like going out and everything else like that, then of course I want us to drink and have fun. But because I don't know that's a trigger for you and that's a response for you when you're going through something, I'm not going to be able to recognize that in you and not assist you with that.
So when it comes to drinking, so I drink and know how to have fun. I think the issue is if we're having a conversation, or if I try to have a conversation with you at that particular moment, such as, how's your day? Did you go take care of your business? And then all of a sudden, whatever they told me they was going to do, they didn't do it. They end up doing something else. And then it's opened up doors to other people involved, but not me. So now we're going out to a club and we're drinking and having fun. So they're sitting back watching me, trying to see if I'm having fun. But yeah, I'm having fun with everybody else. But now all of a sudden, they're mad because I'm not catering to them. Well, how can I cater to you if you leave me out on certain scenarios when we out trying to have a good time? So when I drink, I don't just drink and be like, I want to beat somebody's ass every time I drink. So no, I think what it is, I think what it is, I think what it is something that happened either, like I say, that happened that day, and maybe I didn't solve it before I started drinking. Maybe I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I meant by a trigger, meaning that like as somebody that, as your partner, I'm supposed to know you. I'm supposed to be here with you. So if I know that on a normal day, you just chill, we just smoking weed and vibing, whatever. But if I know something happens to you, I know that something's happened to you because you may start drinking. So now as your partner, because I'm in tune with that and I know that's a trigger and it's a response for you, now I need to ask you questions. How was your day? What happened today? Did anything go on? So now I'm starting to ask you to kind of steer you away from drinking to kind of feel like deal with whatever's going on with you and to talk through that and help you. That's what I meant by that.
Right.
No.
Okay, I get it. Because sometimes you drink for the wrong. Like if I'm drinking, if I seen my significant other in a man's face and she hugging him and he feeling all on the ass, and I'm like this, I'm puffy, like, well, who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Why y'all? Oh, that's just my friend. I'm paying attention. So now, in one of my ears, I'm like, I'm hearing what you're saying, but over here, like, no, I ain't believing that shit. Let me get a shot. So now I'm drinking, but in the back of my mind, I'm still remembering what I saw. So I'm pretty much feeding that anger. So now I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes more sense. I get what you're saying now, because it be situations like that. You know, they want to get half-ass, give you an answer. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's just my friend. Friends don't feel on your ass. And then you gay, right?
No.
You supposed to be my girl, right?
On my ass.
Yeah,
right. And then a whole man. He ain't gotta go to the closet and get his thing
friends
game.
ain't feeling on my ass.
Right.
We like this. We like we doing
we
this. They ain't feeling on. They ain't grabbing their ass.
No.
And then you grab my ass, I'm gonna punch your ass in the neck, motherfucker. Grab my motherfucking ass. Fuck yo, grab my motherfucking ass. Nigga, this ain't go grab my ass. And they don't touch these. I don't even want them. They too damn heavy. It hurt my back. And all that.
Well, I mean, as a feminine identified woman, like the chest area, you gotta kind of pick your battles with that.
Oh my god, I can't stand them. I think I kind of like gave in to one woman. I was like so uncomfortable. I felt like a virgin. I was sitting like, what are you doing? Like, that don't feel right. Like it didn't feel right to me. I'm just stretching. I'm like, could you stop? Like, I felt like I didn't know what to feel. It just didn't feel right. So she said, well, why do you feel like that? I said, well, when I was little at 9 years old, this man next door to my dad's house, he'd be like, hey, Sarita. I'm like, hey, Mr. Such and Such. He said, he threw some candy. I said, oh, thank you. So I reached for the candy and the motherfucker tried to touch my nipple. Oh. And I'm like 9 years old, I ain't got no chance. So ever since then, I'm like, don't touch me. So mentally, I kind of was scarred by that. Right. So the girl said, you just got to relax. I said, okay, I'm going to try. But I'm laying in the bed like this. So now I'm messing up my performance. Now right. I can't please you because you just made me so damn uncomfortable. I don't even know how to feel no more. Like, what are you doing? Like, no.
And that was the coercion. That was a manipulation tactic because with those types of things, that was a trigger and trauma. She wasn't paying attention and she should have just let that go.
Yeah. We didn't fight though, and I wasn't drinking. Hey, motherfucker, you ain't even grabbing on my motherfucking chest with a pop inside your damn head.
Right.
I'm gonna do a part 2 to this because we know you came in late because of the time difference and everything. But we are gonna do a part 2 because it's Women's Month, they said, and this is something I didn't know. March is Women's Month.
Oh yeah, okay.
So so yeah, we are gonna do a part 2 to this next Sunday. Like I said, tonight we just basically showed a bunch of little trailers and scenarios to give people something to think about, like talk. And hopefully when somebody do reach out, you say something like I did with my male friend. Like I was there, even though the police didn't listen to me and then had to come back. And thank God that it was the same officer and they got to see her physically abusing him so that he wouldn't go to jail again. For something that he wasn't because they automatically assume he was a man, he wasn't an aggressor, and that's not always the case. And that happens in same-sex relationships as well. If a police come to the scene, they're gonna always assume that the boyish looking one is the aggressor. They're gonna always assume that, because that's what I was saying when you were talking about the clothes thing. I had a situation where the young lady took all my suits and everything and put them in the bathroom, in the tub, bleach and everything, just bleached out my shit, shoes, everything, bleached out my shit. I had a whole bunch of books. She put them down in this garbage can. She burnt them and everything. I called the police, and the police was looking at me like I had done something wrong. And I'm looking like, did you go look in the bathroom? That is my shit in there. That's not a bunch of dresses and heels in the tub. Those are suits and ties. And that's my stuff that she burnt. So why are you looking at me as if I was aggressive? And it made me feel some kind of way. And they was like, well, who called the police? I said, I did, because she fucking up my shit. I want y'all to do something. But when they came, they automatically assumed that because I was the boyish one that I had done something wrong. And I was like, it's no physical altercation or anything. It's the clothes. It was crazy. We had a couple of more, what did she say? Comments.
So Lucy says, after years of counseling, I can see now. Before, I wasn't as aware. So yeah, definitely, like I said, counseling is definitely important. Professional help is definitely something.
I'm sorry, it was some part. We skipped that.
Oh, she said it might be difficult to acknowledge other people's triggers and traumas if you haven't done your own work. And I absolutely agree with that. I'm in like I said, learning in different things and learning what triggers and traumas you have can help you actually identify those in others. So it definitely takes some work, your own personal healing, shadow work, everything to recognize that. And T. Carpenter says, do any of you consider verbal abuse the same as psychological abuse, or do they go hand in hand? I don't well, I guess you could kind of put verbal and psychological abuse in the same token, because a lot of psychological abuse is done verbally. A lot of it is they're not really completing the action that they're threatening, but they're intimidating enough to make you believe what they're saying to you is going to actually happen or is going to come true. So personally, I feel like they are very, very much on that same line.
I definitely think
worse than that. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say, I definitely think that they can go hand in hand, but I think they're two different things. I mean, verbal itself, yes, because their words can sink into their psyche and affect you on a psychological level. That's why they go hand in hand. But verbal abuse to me is almost more akin to physical abuse because it's an immediate hurt. Like if I was to punch you in the face, you know, you're going to immediately feel that. Well, depending on how hard I punch, you might be like, oh, that's like a little fly. But but if I say some words to you that's hurtful, be like, you know, your daddy never loved you and your mom's a whore. I don't know. But whatever would be your trigger, I could hurt you with my words harder than I could hurt you with my hand. And the verbal abuse goes a little bit deeper to the point that it sticks with you. That even if we make up, at some point, you're going to think, I wonder if she really thought that. Like, why would she say that if she never thought that about me? Whereas that punch, that'll fade away and, you know, people will get over it and be like, ah, yeah, she hit me one day. I don't even remember what it was about. But those words, they stick with you. So I think that that's like right up there with the physical.
I think I was more of a verbal abuser. I can admit that. We can talk about that on the next one because it's deep. I said some harmful things, very harmful things to some women. I really did. Real. So verbal is worse than physical, I believe. Although I never except the blackout, I don't go around beating women. But verbally, I can admit I've done some damage.
I know I got a mouth on me. I got a mouth on me as well. So I'm quite sure some women out there probably still recall some shit that I said to them. And it wasn't intentional. But yeah, I'm quite sure that I've said some because if you piss me off, I could say some really, really hurtful. I mean, I could dig deep. So, and I know one young lady in particular was really hurt by some shit that I said to her because here it is about 12 years later and she's still talking about it. I was running to somebody and they're still breathing. I'll be like, I ain't talked to that woman in 12 years. So and the same thing with me, like, you know, I've had some shit that said to me that sometimes when I might be in certain situations, some trigger it. Like if somebody say, "Oh, girl, you so feminine," I trigger back to the incident where women would say, "Oh, you ain't man enough for me," and even though I know I'm not a man, it still kind of did a little bit of something to my ego because they're like, "Oh, you not man enough," or they'll say certain things like that. But then I'll be like, "Oh, let's see who's gonna be on their back first when we get in this bed." Now I'm gonna show you better than I could tell you. I ain't finna be on my goddamn back. I know that one for damn show because she was like, "You ain't man enough." I just think you she was like, you look like a pillow, a boy princess, a stud princess, some shit she said. And I didn't know what at the time I didn't know what that meant, but that's a boyish girl who basically lays on her back and the film does everything to them. So she was making all these accusations, but she didn't even know me like that. We hadn't even got to that point. She was just, and I know I talk with my hand. She's like, oh, you remind me of a gay boy calling me sissy and shit like that. Like I have friends that I have a friend that joke with me about that because, when I dance, I used to vogue or whatever. And we went out one night and she was just so upset and so embarrassed. Like, oh, you just embarrassed me. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's how I dance. And that's just me. So some of that kind of, so the next time we all went out, because she talked about me so bad, the next time we went out, I didn't even feel comfortable enough to dance. So that's what, when you get into the verbal, it kind of stick because I didn't even feel comfortable enough. And then I was like, nah, I can't date her because she made me feel very uncomfortable. So the next time we was out and I was standing there and I really wasn't dancing, and my friends was coming over like, come on, Don, this your shit. And I was like, yeah, I'm just sitting there like, because I didn't want to get talked about again. Because when I said she went in, she talked about me so bad, like, bitch, I need to put you on a skirt and some heels dancing like that.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lay you on your back. And it was just it was just from how I was dancing. She's like, you rolling like that, you rolling up. I was like, bitch, I'm gonna put you on a pole, make some money. Like, bitch, I used to dance.
You was real disrespectful.
Like it was bad. So
it was real disrespectful. Oh, wow.
So yeah, so and after a while I dealt with it. I'm a pretty confident person and I know who I am. I'm very comfortable in my body and my skin. But sometimes people can say some shit to you. And it'll stick with you. That was like the only woman that I dated. It didn't last that long that I dated that did that, but it didn't last that long. I got to ask back though. My revenge was I'm gonna show you how much man I am when we get in this bed, and then I'm gonna leave your ass after I spring your ass. Get you sprung. I'm gonna leave you.
She probably was just doing that because she was just jealous of you because you're popular. You got all the good friends and you can dance. So I have them type of issues too. People get mad. They just sit. Some of them just sit there and stare and frown up. They don't even want to say nothing to you. They just talking about you under their breath. That's
power and control.
They weak. What'd you say?
I said it's always a struggle. My wife says it's best the war between tops and bottoms.
Right.
It's always a struggle. It's always about that power and that control dynamic. Sometimes, unfortunately, it leads into domestic violence, whether it be verbal, psychological, physical. It takes that form, unfortunately, and jealousy can lead to that because it becomes a habit. Like they said, sometimes people could end up, because I knew somebody that I did not even realize she was an abusive person, but it becomes a habit. She was dating somebody and I just started seeing little things, but she wasn't, but she turned out, it didn't seem like she was, but it turned out that she actually was.
You ever had somebody come to you and say, why don't you just hit me? Why don't you just hit me?
No, I ain't never had nobody tell me that.
It's like, like what? And then, when somebody come to you like that, you be like, well, why would you say that to me? Do I look like somebody? Do I remind you of someone? So that's when that's when I try to have a conversation like that. And it's reverse psychology. What are you asking me questions for? You asking me to hit you. Because we're arguing or we're having a debate. You can agree to disagree and you get mad and you get in my face. Well, listen, you don't have to get in my face and get all loud. It's okay. We can talk about it. So if I'm too calm, they mad. if I'm not yelling, they mad.
Like maybe a little bit of BDSM, but then that can also sometimes turn into domestic violence if you're not trained properly or don't exactly know what you're doing with it. Because sometimes some people like that angry sex and to be choked or smacked around a little bit.
We wouldn't even have sex.
Well, I mean, that's a particular kink, and if you're not in that lifestyle, then it does toe the line, because there are a lot of people watch movies and think that all of that is
50
what
Shades of Grey.
and it's not. It is a horrible representation. So, yeah.
I agree. Horrible.
I'm sorry, Black.
Horrible representation.
No need to be sorry. Those books were actually one of the reasons why I wrote my 5 books, because I was like, okay, it's a beautiful story. Yeah, but that ain't really how it really goes down. It ain't that many billionaire bad boys out there. Yeah, it was a horrible representation. But you do get those people who, like, I warn when I coach people and I vet people in the lifestyle, I warn them about the fake doms, the ones who actually are just sociopaths and they want somebody to mentally and possibly physically abuse with no repercussions. Because you have some people out there that are willing to go all in and give up total control too quickly to the wrong people. Without really knowing, without paying attention to those proverbial red flags. Right. So that's definitely, those definitely go hand in hand, how it can turn into an abusive situation.
Absolutely. And that's something that we can talk about definitely on part 2. We can kind of go more into those other types of financial, sexual, and those other types of abuses as well. Absolutely.
Right. And talk a little bit about your books.
Absolutely.
As well, and get more into the abusive part. But it's definitely next week we're gonna talk more about this and crossing the line on what you just said, Black.
Okay.
All right. Well, of course, we want to thank everybody who participated. Blackfire, of course, because you're always here. We always love you.
Thank you.
Bree coming through, definitely giving us some knowledge as well. Thank you so much for allowing us
for having me
to hold space with that. And everybody who stayed tuned, we will definitely be continuing this conversation with part 2. And those of you who haven't already, please make sure you go to coffeetalk.com, because we're actually going to continue some of the conversations as well there. So go to the social media site, sign up for your free profile, and we'll continue the conversation until we have the next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Right. And make sure you go and follow us on IG at Social Talk. Wait, I can't even see it. Coffee Talk Social. Coffee Talk Social. That's a new IG page that Jessica made. So go on there and follow us on there as well to follow and get updates. You can follow me at LE Radio. Follow Brittany at Lady Poetry 86. Black at Honest the Authoress. Ree, you ain't put where to follow you at. I guess you don't want nobody following you.
Ree said she gonna stay good and single. She don't want nobody following her. No stop.
Nobody sliding in the DMs.
I'll fix it next time.
Okay. So we will be back, the 4 of us, next Sunday, continuing with part 2. Next Sunday, 6 p.m. I forgot that was 3 o'clock your time, Ree. My apologies. That is 3 o'clock your time,
Okay.
right? Because
right now it's what time is it out there now? Like
8:17.
Yeah, so it's 5:18 here now.
Okay, you're on Vegas time. Okay. I'll remember that for next week. So that would be 3 o'clock your time, because I was telling you 5. And that was the wrong time. So I'll make sure I send another email with the right your time and everything in there, so we could continue with part 2 next Sunday at 6:15.
Sounds great.
All righty. Y'all have a good night.
Ladies as well.
Right now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.